Once you have received your bank statement at the end of the month, whether that is by getting it in the mail or downloading it from online banking, it's time to reconcile your bank statement. Because it's best to do it before you close the month, I am going to actually do it from the next step, which is reconcile bank statements. Please note, though, that if you close the month, you can still reconcile using this reconcile. This reconcile and this reconcile bank statements takes you to the same module within Joule. I'm going to select Reconcile Bank Statements. Note that here the default is your primary checking account, the checking account where your deposits and your checks are posted to. The date here shows me the last date that it was reconciled. On 12/31/13, there was a reconciled balance of $45,881. That becomes my beginning balance for the next month. If I have more than one bank account, for instance, if I have Southern Union Revolving Fund, I would select this to reconcile it. Unfortunately, the last time the Southern Union Revolving Fund was reconciled is 11/30/13, so I clearly have a couple of months to do there. Notice that it looks like there are 4 bank accounts. There are really only 2. It first lists them alphabetically, then it lists the same 2 accounts numerically. We're going to be working at this time with the Wells Fargo checking account. The date here, the ending date here, it is what determines what you see in the deposits and interest earned box and in the checks written and bank fees box. Notice that since this date is 12/31, it only shows us checks and deposits that are prior to 12/31, or through 12/31, I should say. If I select more deposits, then I will see other things past that date, whether it's more checks or more deposits. More checks would be accessed here. So that's a quick overview of how those boxes work. Down here in the lower right-hand corner is where I would put new entries. This is where I'm going to post bank fees or interest earned. But the very first thing I want to do when I open this is to put in the ending date on your bank statement. I'm hoping that your bank actually draws the line in the sand at the last day of the month. If they don't, please request that they do a month-end bank statement. This date is the bank statement date that I'm working with is 01/31/14. Again, your 6-digit, no dash, no slash format. I hit enter, the slashes are put in, and then I put my ending balance from the bank statement, which in this case is $23,677.68. Once I hit enter, notice that I now have all activity through January 31 of that year. What we have here were deposits that were made in December but didn't actually clear the bank until after the holidays, probably on the 1st, the 2nd, or the 3rd of the following month. But they still had December dates because they were offerings received in December. Thankfully, both of these have cleared. I would highly recommend that you take, as you check things off with Joule, that you take your pen or pencil and put a check mark or a line beside that item on your bank statement. That way, if at the end you still have a difference, because here's our goal, this difference right here, we want that to become 0. The bank ending balance matches the ending balance up here, The cleared ending balance is what's in Jewel and what you've actually marked as cleared on your bank statement. So this difference becomes 0. If you do not mark things off on your paper bank statement as you mark them off in Jewel, and you end up with a difference, it makes it much more difficult to find what that difference is. Okay, there are 2 ways to clear. I can point my mouse and I can put a left click, which puts a check mark, which clears that item. Or I can point my mouse anywhere at this item, either at the number or anywhere in this line, and double click, and that also puts a check mark there. So again, I can put a check mark with my mouse in the box or anywhere on the line, double click. All the deposits for December and January cleared. That's because the last Sabbath in January was January 25. There were 6 more days in which it actually got, was able to clear the bank in that month. Do not put a check mark by any item that is not listed on your bank statement. It's important that you put a check mark on your bank statement and a check mark in Jewel, both at the same time. This month there was an NSF check reversal that was cleared and posted earlier in Jewel, so we can put a check mark there. Now we go to the checks and find that all of the December checks cleared in January. Again, I can double click here. That's a little faster for me. I like that. And the 2 checks that were written in January on the 20th also cleared. However, I have 3 checks here, 4 checks in January that are not listed on the January bank statement, so I will not clear those. I will not put check marks. Am I okay? Well, no, I have a difference. And oh, I look and I see that here is my problem. I put a check mark here by this deposit for $2,250, but when I look at my bank statement more closely, I see that that was actually a deposit for $2,250.25. The best way and the quickest way to make that correction, and here's another good reason to make these corrections in the month before you close the month, to make these reconciliations so you can make the corrections. I go above the picture of the lizard and I left click on Deposit Report, and I select that deposit. Because the month is not closed, I can actually go to Trial Deposit and select the person who got shorted. And as I go through the tithe envelopes, I find that it's Jane McGooder, I guess it is, who I posted that tithe envelope incorrectly. So I select Edit Envelope. I change the check amount because her check was actually written for $422.25. The bank caught it, but I hadn't caught it. Then I can go here, have to re-put in her check number, which is 9776. And it was the tithe. I missed 25 cents on her tithe. Now notice that when I finish this, it says the offering total is less than the amounts of all envelopes entered for this offering. Would you like to create a trial deposit to find the error? And I say yes, I want to do that. I find that the offering total was actually recorded for 25 cents too little. So I again go to Make Corrections, this time to change the current offering total to the correct amount that actually cleared the bank, $2,250.25. Now I go to Trial Deposit. There's no difference. I now can go to Edit. I actually can close now. Takes me back to the deposit report. I close the deposit report, and I'm right back in the bank reconciliation screen. Very handy. Now I can put a check mark there, and I'm $20 off. I look at my bank statement and find that that $20 is the $20 bank fee for the NSF check so for that donor's check that bounced. To post that, I select New Entry. Remember, this new entry is where we can post bank fees and interest that may be purchased, may be charged. Even that I don't mean. Interest that may be earned. There we go. Finally got it. And now we go to Edit Accounts, where I can now select the account that I want to post the bank charges to. If this were my church, I would know exactly where I wanted to post it, but this is not a church that I normally work with. I do know that I want to put it to office expense, and just for the sake of example, I'm going to leave this as deposits and interest earned, even though that's not where I want it. I just want to show you how to correct it if you should do that as well. $20 of expense, and here I want to put the date that it happened. On the bank statement, it shows me that on January 20, 2014, there was an NSF check fee, or returned check fee, it might say. So maybe I'll change that to what the bank would say. Returned check fee. And then select Add Entry. My difference goes to 0, but I see that this returned check fee is up in deposits and interest earned. I want to correct that. So just as when we corrected the deposit, we went to Deposit Report, I will go to General Journal Entry. This is a message I'll let you read later if you want to. And I go to Previous, and this is the entry that I just made. I can select Edit Entry and now change it to Checks Written and Bank Fees, and select OK. So should you, when you make a new entry, should you forget to put this in the correct spot, and thereby you have an expense or a deposit in the wrong box, you can always correct it by going to General Journal Entry. If there was a problem with a check, you could go to the check report, select the check, select Edit Check, and make any corrections that need to be made. The nice thing of using the bank reconciliation portal is that when you've finished making your correction, it brings you right back to the reconciliation. Once you have reached a difference of 0, your reconciliation is complete for the month. Note that you may have, and probably should have, empty boxes here that have not been cleared. Those items will probably clear in the following month. When you have finished your reconciliation, I recommend that you do not select Print, because if you select Print, it will look like you completed. You'll look and say, but I've got my printed reconciliation, so I must have finished the reconciliation, when in reality you haven't. The only time you should use Print is as a tool throughout the reconciliation process, where you can actually print out and know what's been cleared so far. That is a tool for during the reconciliation. Once the reconciliation has been completed and that difference is 0, then select OK. When you select OK, you will be given the option to print. Would you like to print? Always say yes and print out a paper copy. I'm not actually going to select that right now, as there is no printer set up on the computer that I'm doing the training video on. But if you have any questions, be sure and call one of the auditors to assist you. We are here to help you, and I think you'll find that reconciliation isn't nearly as scary as it seems. Notice that when you have finished that printing, it will alert you that there's another account that needs to be reconciled. You can say OK, and in this case it would be the Southern Union Revolving Fund. You would do it the same way. I recommend you not do multiple months. There should be a 12/31 reconciliation. And with Southern Union Revolving Fund and other savings accounts, often those statements only come quarterly. In that case, you would say cancel, and I'm going to say no, I don't want to go on to the next month because I want to show you what you can do. Go to Maintenance and Edit Accounts. Find your bank account that only comes quarterly, in this case the Southern Union Revolving Fund. Select Edit Southern Union Revolving Fund, and down at the bottom is Statement Frequency. Put the frequency so it will only remind you when there's actually a statement to do, and then say OK. In this case, there's still that 12/31 statement that needs to be reconciled with for Southern Union Revolving Fund. So we'll take just a moment and go ahead and do that reconciliation. Remember here, for doing this anything other than the main checking account, you have to select the down arrow here, and we'll select Southern Union. 12/31/13, don't count on that ending date being correct, but in this case it is, and the ending balance is $18,257.87. And I admit I made that up to make it easy to reconcile since I'm making prototype data. The only thing missing is the interest, so we're going to do new entry. Deposits and interest earned is correct. We're going to put it into church budget. You would post interest to wherever your church board has voted for you to post interest. We'll put that $100 of interest income, and we'll put fourth quarter, or I like to abbreviate, QTR 2014 SURF interest. As soon as we say add entry, our difference is 0, we can say OK, and we're done.